And get ready to prepare us for Facebook. Alexis, you ready? All right. Let me get ready for Facebook. It is the hour. So you have our music. Alexis, I'm having difficulty starting the webinar. I press start and it says once you click start, attendees can join the webinar, but it keeps saying that over and over again. And we can't hear music if you're playing it, Alexis.
I get that I'm in a.
Here come the participants. All right.
We are at 9 o'clock, so maybe we should just start the webinar.
Very well.
Okay.
And we are live. All right. Thank you for sharing. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Black Women for Wellness, Sisters at 8. Thank you for joining us this early Friday morning. And we have a host of people here to share our experiences on Black motherhood. So here, as we get ready to start our session for the day, we have many speakers and we are coming to you from Black Women for Wellness, which is based in Los Angeles, and we've been around for over 23 years, and we are here to advocate for and educate Black women and girls on what's going on with us in the world. So we have a number of different programs and information that we have to offer, and this is our Sisters at 8, which is our monthly forum. So without further ado, I would like to get into our program for the day because we've got a lot to hear from our different mothers today. So before we go into that, we will get a little bit of news because it's always important to know what's happening in the world and get a perspective that we may not traditionally see out in the world. So Regina is going to bring us some news for today. Regina, I'm sending the spotlight to you.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me, the first bit of news I would like to share is a bit of news from Nigeria. It's an atheist activist. His name is Mubarak Bala, sentenced for, 24 years after pleading guilty to 18 charges in a blasphemy case. He was hoping for leniency and mercy. He is an atheist. He's very outspoken, and so and he was one of the things that he did was oppose some of the clerics, Islamist clerics. And so they got back at, they charged him with blasphemy and he was found guilty. He pleaded guilty on his own against the wishes of his attorney. He was pleading for mercy and leniency. He was brought up in a very religious household, Islamist household. But then he saw a woman executed, a Christian woman executed. That's when he said he became an atheist. The reason I chose this story is because two of the things that people say they don't like to talk about is politics and religion. And yet religion and politics is what sets the tone, for instance, in this country, for policy when it comes to reproductive justice, voting, civil rights, education, and so forth. And then that moves me into my second point of news. Ketanji Brown Jackson is the 6th woman and 3rd Black justice and 1st Black woman to ascend to the US Supreme Court. So I just wanted to say a shout out for that. And that's it. Thank you for letting me share these bits of news. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina, for joining us today. And thank you for all the work that you are doing in the community. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't give our executive director an opportunity to come on camera and share a few words of welcome if you are able to. Jan, would you like to say hello to the people?
Absolutely. Thank you for giving me a few moments. I am delighted that we are here at the beginning of Black Maternal Health Week to celebrate Black moms and hear the stories of Black moms, hear the stories of doulas, hear the stories of midwives, and hear the stories of OBGYNs. When Black Women for Wellness first started, it was around this issue of maternal and infant health. And we have been steady working at it, and we still have so much work to go. And it is my pleasure to see how many more folks are interested in working on this and how we are all lifting our voices from the various places that we have been working on it to create a joint force. So I am delighted to welcome this panel. Delighted to and excited about Maternal Health Week coming up and our kickstart of it with this week. Looking forward to looking at the little baby pictures because I love looking at baby pictures, and really excited now because now I have grandsons I get to watch grow up also. And thank you for putting this together, Black Women for Wellness staff, while I was out gallivanting around the world.
We can't wait to hear some more. And
oh my goodness, I have pictures I'm going to show. I'm going to make you look at them.
All right. Let's see from our audience. Can you all hear us? I know I have one person that can't hear us. I think we all are muted when you come into the session, just so we can proceed with the program. And then as our speakers come on, we come off mute. Okay. So thank you for the response in the chat. I love it when, we have that call and response in our community. And so the drums used to tell our story. So I need that feedback. So thank you and good morning to all of you who are here with us. So now that I know that you all can hear, at this point, we wanted to have a poem. And so I'm going to see if Michelle is available to give us a poem. Michelle, are you ready right now, or should I wait for Felicia?
Yes, ma'am. I am happy to share with you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing this bit of poetry with us.
Sure, absolutely. This is something that I wrote to my soon-to-be-born daughter, and it is called Sun Speckled. My foremothers, my ancestors, cradle our pulse, pouring out the before because there is no room only morning. Fingers break dawn's earth, planting good seed, slick backs and brows bead. Pushing tired down because the harvest always comes. Pardon me.
As they say in Black community, take your time, girl.
It's like pushing tired down because the harvest always comes. So do the babies, fast, open mouth, wide eyes. Everything is theirs. Everything is ours. When the wind says the growing season is done, bellies are big, full. Mothers wrap up their daughters and smile, waiting for bluebirds to hum. This is how they carried me here, Africa and Ireland, making my curls dance to the music of the Most High. Praises be. I am given. Now I sit under a golden speckled sun. I close my eyes, raising my chin. I close my eyes, raising my chin. Like a slow pluck of a purple electric guitar on a Saturday sunrise, big tooth and brown skin. Cradling this moment with you, I wrap you in love, I big smile. Baby girl, you are magic. Baby girl, you are magic.
You. That was wonderful. And we called you up here last minute to do that. So that was beautiful reading. Thank you so much. I want to go ahead and start us on our topic for the day. Jan made sure to mention that it is Black Maternal Health Week coming next week. And last year it became official. So we've been acknowledging it for a long time and working with all of our partner organizations. And so I'd like to pass it over to our maternal and infant coordinator at Black Women for Wellness to start this session where I will read some bios for each one, and we will have some questions to try and make this panel and this moment of educating and sharing information go smoothly. So Chanel, let me go ahead and highlight you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm not sure if I am highlighted yet, but good morning. Welcome to our kickoff event for Black Maternal Health Week. We're very grateful and thankful to have you here to celebrate motherhood. Just want to do a quick introduction to myself. I am the Maternal Infant Health Program Coordinator at Black Women for Wellness. I'm very excited for my first Black Maternal Health Week. I do want to share our flyer that we have to show the events that we have for Black Women for Wellness, just so you can see what we are doing and planning for next week. The theme for this year for Black Maternal Health Week is Building for Liberation, Centering Black Mamas, Families, and Systems of Care. And just to give a brief overview for what we are doing as an organization, we will be having podcast episodes every day. So Monday, there will be a podcast episodes surrounding conversation with Black fathers supporting Black mothers. Tuesday, another podcast episode regarding, conversations with future physicians regarding Black maternal health. We'll also have a great town hall that everyone can watch regarding chronic conditions in pregnancy. We have women sharing their stories of experiencing sickle cell and fertility issues in pregnancy and being high-risk patients and being turned away from physicians and having to navigate that space alone and not knowing what to do. Wednesday, we will have our Kitchen Diva segments where we will be showing healthy one-pot meals. We know how difficult it is to be a mom and to still want to eat healthy and to have children and to work. So we want to show easy one-pot meals where they're quick, they're simple, but we're making sure that we're still getting the nutrients that we need. There will still be another podcast episode regarding policy, wondering where we are right now, where are we headed regarding Black maternal health. Thursday, another Kitchen Diva segment. We want to make sure that we're informing women regarding lactation and postpartum support. So we will also be previewing our cookbook that Black Women for Wellness have created and showing some recipes that can help with lactation and postpartum, along with a podcast episode regarding Black money and what have we done with it. And finally, Friday, there will be a podcast between the intersection between environmental justice and reproductive justice. There is a big intersection between the two that is not discussed. And so the two teams from Black Women for Wellness will be discussing the intersection and how we collaborate. So with that being said, just wanted to share our events with you all. So please join. The links will be posted on our website for events. The flyers will be there to register, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And with that being said, we can start with the questions that we have created and having this discussion with our panelists, wanting to hear everyone's journeys, wanting for women to be able to share their stories and uplift each other. And so with our panelists, we will start with the first question, and then Keisha will, of course, start reading everyone's bios. But the first question is, what does motherhood mean to you? Define it in your own words. Just want to get a sense of, what does a mother mean to you?
All right. So Nichelle will go first. And thank you for doing the poem. And I'll go ahead and read your bio here. Nichelle Wilson is the founder of Palm Baby Doula in Southern California, working to inform, educate, and support mothers in an effort to improve the outcomes of those most at risk to be impacted by the maternal health care crisis on a local level. She is currently serving as a mentor for fellow doulas under the Love Delivered initiative, created by the founder of the Mama Glow Foundation, Latham Thomas, and founder of Carol's daughter, Lisa Price. Love Delivered supports BIPOC families in need by matching them with a doula, empowering support, educating families to advocate for their own wellness. Nichelle is a mother of 2 boys and expecting a girl due in July of this year, and loves being in nature on family hikes, reading poetry, and expressing herself through written word. Thank you. So Nichelle, you want to answer the question first?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me again. And thank you for everyone who's making time to attend and being here and showing up in community today. We thank you. We honor you. We see you. For me, motherhood is most certainly, from my experience, been community, right? And going back to our ancestors and what we were supposed to be doing and what was intended for the journey of motherhood was definitely a community collaborative effort, yes, in supporting mothers. And for me, we've gotten so removed from that, and it's so important that we're bringing it back. And that's why Sisters at 8 is really important, because we're establishing that community, from birth support to mental health, maternal mental health, yes, and postpartum support and beyond, as mothers who are working transition back into the workforce and so forth, having access to resources. So for me, community, that's motherhood, that's love.
Thank you, Nichelle. Next, we will move on to Brittany Williams, who is a board certified family nurse practitioner who earned her Bachelor's of Science in Nursing in 2012. She has enjoyed 8 years as a bedside nurse and charge nurse in various specialties, including intensive care, medical surgery, med surgery, subacute cardiac units, ortho and emergency. She obtained her Master's of Science, oh, there you are, you're on camera, yay, in nursing from South University, and holds a certification with the American Academy of Nurse Practitioners. And she currently works for a provider for a community health clinic that offers specialty programs designed to ensure access to healthcare for all persons, especially those who are low income and uninsured. Brittany Brittany Williams, MSN, MFNP.
Hello, everyone. It's so amazing to be a part of this. This is my first panel, so I am nervous, but I'm excited to speak to everyone. So the question of motherhood. So I am a mother currently of 2 and then 1 on the way. Motherhood is empowering. It's inspiring. Motherhood is purpose giving. I feel like it's obviously life-changing. I moved here from Texas to California, so my community was small, but I have built that community since I moved here. So I do agree with Nichelle. Community is very important to have because you raise your child, but when they say it takes a community or it takes a village, it really does. So yes, that's motherhood to me.
Thank you for answering that one. Next, we have Kina Ferguson. Hold on, let me make sure I spotlight her correctly. Oh, it moves as soon as I was going to push the button. Okay, so Kina Ferguson will now come on, and her bio reads as such. She told me just to say that she is just a director, actor, an artist, a writer, a choreographer with many roles in TV and film, such as All American Sisters, Atlanta, and many more. She is the voice of many video games, such as Star Wars, Spider-Man, War Z, Red Dead Redemption, and more. She is a NAACP award winner and HBO nominated director. She's a wife and mom of 2, a 3-year-old boy and a 1-year-old girl. Kina, welcome, and please feel free to answer the question.
Motherhood definitely for me is community for sure, but it's also for me it's this mixture of things being beautiful and hard. Things can be hard and beautiful at the same time, and that's the biggest thing that I've learned in motherhood, because there's so many like challenges that are beautiful and amazing, but at the same time you're like, oh my goodness. And so I've just learned that there's such a great beautiful duality and motherhood, and without the support of my village, I just don't know how, I don't know how people do it without that support. So community and then the duality.
Thank you very much, Kina. Jolinda, I hope you're ready to come on next. And I don't have your bio with me now, but I'm sure you will be ready to tell us all the amazing things that you are as a wonderful, beautiful mother with amazing energy. So, Jolinda.
So motherhood means to me, I agree with everybody else. It's a community effort, but it's also sanctifying and sweet. I feel that mothers give unconditional love, wisdom, positivity, and enlightenment. And that requires everlasting love. Hi, Jessica. I'm sorry.
It's all right to shout out to folks when you see them here. And so, Nicole, you are next. Let me pull everything back up again and highlight you, Nicole. Nicole Houston is coming to us at Black Women for Wellness's Sisters at 8. And her bio reads as such. Let me make sure I have you highlighted. It keeps moving again, and you don't have all that is you in here, but I'll read what I have. Nicole Houston has spent the last 10 years working in the community, advocating for underserved women, children, and families. She is a devoted mother of 3 a mentor, a longtime volunteer serving NICU families. I had to look it up. That is when you are in intensive care unit, and a family health advocate for Riverside County's Black Infant Health Program. Ms. Houston received her bachelor's degree in public health and is also a certified doula. Her passion for birth work developed as a result of her personal birthing experiences and delivering her second child 5 weeks prematurely. Nicole has made it her life's work to be a resource and provide support to all birthing persons and their families in their time of need. Nicole.
Good morning, everyone. So for me, motherhood, as the first word that came to my mind was joy. It's so far removed from being happy. It is just joyful for me. My children are 13, 11, and 7, and we are in a good place now with age. They're very independent, and we just have so much fun and just being their mom makes me happy. I also want to echo the sentiment of community because in the midst of a pandemic, my family went through a major transition, and there is no way that I could have been the mom without my support. I one of my biggest supporters in the comments, Jessica, she has been amazing, but there's no way that I am able to be and do what I do without having my community. So joy is motherhood to me, and community is just everything.
Thank you for sharing, Nicole. I'll let us try and set this up in a panel style so we can see everyone. And you can come on camera if you are able to our panelists, and I will pin you. And Chanel will ask the next question.
Yes, thank you all again for sharing that definition of what motherhood means to you. Wanting to know more about each one of you, could you please share how your pregnancy and delivery experience was? Did you have a midwife or a doula? Did you know what a midwife and doula were? Just wanting to know more to share your experience of how your pregnancy and delivery went.
I'm happy to go ahead and share. Thank you, Chanel. I can tell you with my first son, I was in Florida. I was closer to family. All my family's on the East Coast, so I definitely had that support system. I had a phenomenal Black OBGYN, Dudley Brown, who I want to shout out. If anyone knows anyone who needs an OB in the West Palm Beach area, the Jupiter area of Florida, he's amazing. He's also the head of obstetrics and gynecology at Jupiter Medical Center, He's phenomenal, which is a non-for-profit hospital. So the service is different, right? That's the first thing at the hospital. The service is different because it's not a profit-led hospital. Everyone was so gracious and kind and informative. So that for me was the epitome of what service should look like in a hospital. That set the bar, and we know what that should look like, but we also know that it's not that on a day-to-day basis for most women, right? Especially Black and brown women, Black and brown bodies. So then my second birth coming out here, and I should say my first birth was vaginal. It was just the OB, one nurse, and my husband, myself. That was it. That's the only people that were in the room. Dim lights. It was very, very beautiful, very intimate, very calming. What it should be. Coming out here was different, transitioning to a new location and having to go through the process of not only moving, but finding someone, right? So I didn't even find a doula until I think I was like 8, 9 months pregnant. I was crying, I was praying, God help me, ancestors send somebody who is representative of what I look like, right? So, because it makes a difference. It makes a difference, not only a doula's presence, but of one who's representative of who you are. And so our plan was to have, our preference, I should say, was to have a birth at a birth center. Those second babies come quick, fast, in a hurry. And he came 2 weeks early, and it was very, 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 very quick. We were not going to make it to the birth center. And as you know, if you were out in the Inland Empire area, if you're familiar with this area, there are few and far between when it comes to birth centers, and not enough that look like us. Okay. So we ended up having to go to it was suggested that I go to the hospital, right? I was like, I will have this baby in the shower. My husband didn't seem comfortable with that. He wasn't ready for that. But I was like, I'm ready. I know my body knows what to do. He was like, we need to go to the hospital. So we go to the hospital. They thought I was going to have the baby in the lobby. I was like, I'm good. I'm fine. We get upstairs. My doula, wonderful doula, Aisha, was with me. And, you know, in these hospitals that are for profit, they're like, they want to push all the interventions, right? So I was like, no. In triage, I was like, I'm not going to lay down. This is, if you want to check my cervix, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do it the way I want to do it. I'm going to be on all fours. This is what's comfortable for me right now, because I was already feeling pressure. And so I think that threw them off a little bit. We get into the room. My husband, I should say, is taking my oldest son to drop him off with one of our friends. So it's myself and Aisha, my doula. And we're in there. I'm standing up. I am laboring baby down. His head is crowning. He's coming out. The OB on call comes in, and she's just flustered because she's like, what is she doing? Because I am asserting my autonomy, right? I am standing up. I am birthing the way that I feel comfortable. And I am informed enough to know at this point what I want that experience to be with what I have going on at the time and what I had access to. So they tried to make me wear a mask. They wanted to give me oxygen. I was like, nope. No, like hospital policy is not law. No, thank you. Birthed my baby. And I think the OB felt some kind of way because the OB was not needed, because I was doing it and I was comfortable doing it. And so she put her hands inside to kind of pull him down a little bit, because I guess he wasn't coming as quickly as she wanted him to, but she did it without informed consent. And we know if we have a client or ourselves are prone to trauma or trauma victims, right? That sets off a whole other physiological response, right? So she does that. I'm shocked. So I tense up. I'm not releasing him when my uterus is trying to push. And so that created some friction. He did come out. I did have, with that, there was the pubis symphysis, the bit of cartilage between your and your pelvic bone, right? And Brittany, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know that you know this. It stretched a bit more than it should have, and that caused a little bit of dysfunction later, a lot of pain, because she pulled him, and it was unnecessary, right? So then, after I've gotten him out, and I am laying down, and I'm birthing the placenta, right? Because you birth the baby, you don't need to birth the placenta, have it pulled. You can do it yourself. You can birth it yourself. She pulled the placenta while I was talking to Aisha. She waited. I saw her wait. And this is what's crazy, y'all. She waited until I was locking eyes with the doula, and then she snatched my placenta. And I felt it. And you should not pull the placenta. We know why we shouldn't pull the placenta, because you can get pieces lodged inside that can cause you to have surgery. It can be very, very vital that we don't do that, right? Brittany's like, yeah. So she not only pulled the placenta, but then I hemorrhaged, right? Women die like this all the time, and it's unnecessary. So in those few moments following, I am bleeding excessively. This is when my husband comes in the room. The baby is born. He's over there. He's like, where's the baby? I'm like, go get him. And he comes back. And in that walk there and walk back, I had severe chills set in. Severe. Could hardly talk. Mentally, I'm there. Spiritually, I'm there. I'm cognizant of everything that is happening around me. I hear and see everything. I think I'm having a conversation with my husband, and I know I need to be warmed up. I know I need blankets, and I'm trying to tell him, get me blankets, right? His eyes are watering because he tells me afterwards that I was slumped over and I couldn't even get words out, right? And this makes me emotional, and this is part of why I became a doula. It set a fire in me, because the only person I could think about in that moment was my child and Kira Johnson. And if you're not familiar with Kira Johnson's story, please go read about Kira Johnson. And I just thought about how she lost so many liters of blood in her cesarean. But even though it was a vaginal birth, for me, that hemorrhaging, that unnecessary hemorrhaging happens to so many women unnecessarily so. And it's like, what are we doing to prevent this? We have a doula here. And I have to tell you, the reason I had a doula wasn't because, oh, I want a doula, I want this holistic, amazing birth. It was, I want someone there to witness what the process of events are in the event that something happens to this body due to unnecessary interventions. That was my motivation for having a doula. And I thought, I had a moment of clarity. I thought, if something happens to me, thank God Aisha's here. Thank God she can say, this is what happened. But for me to have to even go through that, for my husband to have to go through that, it was unnecessary. And that's why these conversations are important. That's why it's important that we have community. And I don't mean to get so emotional, but it's just like, we deserve better and we can do better. And that is why I have a Black midwife. That is why I am having a home birth. Because we can do better. And when we know better, we have to do better, right? And that is my share.
Thank you so much. Well, that was great to hear your story. And, we're sorry that you did experience that, but very grateful for you to be able to share your story so that, we can get this information to people. And, in the comments, we acknowledge you. We are here with you. We support you. So thank you for that. If anyone would like to go next to share their story, their pregnancy and delivery, please share.
May I speak about my experience?
Yes, please. Thank you. Go ahead, Jolinda.
Hello, everyone again. I just want to say thank you again for having me. I am a mother of 2 children. I have a son that's 16 years old, and I have an infant that was born prematurely. Her name is Joy Linda. I wanted to name her Joy because I felt that she was going to bring a lot of joy to me. And my name is Jolinda. So I wanted her give her a piece of my name as well. And Linda means beautiful. So her name together is Beautiful Joy. So I just also wanted to let you guys know that my son was diagnosed with diabetes throughout the pandemic. I didn't know anything about that. With the children not being able to go to school or socialize with anyone like that, we spent a lot of time in the house. Some days my son would just not feel so good. Sometimes him and I will just, it'll be real rough in a house with a teenager. I just might just want to say that. To where some days it just got out of hand. So I seeked out for help. I took him to the emergency room a few times just to see what was going on. This was before I found out that he had diabetes. When I went to the emergency room, they then told me that my son had diabetes. I did not have any clue about his medical condition. Because I took him to the emergency room so many times throughout the pandemic, DCFS was called and they removed my son from my care. That was the way they responded to me trying to seek out help for my son. This was done in 2020. My case is still open, but my son is home. Throughout this whole experience, I got pregnant, and I ended up going into preterm labor because of all of the stress and anxiety from DCFS. I did not have a lot of clarity. I was treated very poorly. No one gave me a lot of enlightenment about how to deal with them. I just felt alone until I reached out to Jewel, and she helped me tremendously. She did introduce me to Miss Jessica Wade with the Mighty Little Giants, and they helped me so much, just mentally. I'm sorry. It just gave me so much inspiration to keep going. I had 2 kids. I was here by myself in California. A lot of my family live in Louisiana, and that meant a lot to me. It kept me moving. With my daughter, we spent 136 days in the NICU. They tried to get me to breastfeed because they felt like that was best for her, but I was so stressed out that I couldn't breastfeed. She was only born at 1 pound of birth weight. She had a heart surgery. And now we're here. She got through all of those things. And this is how she looks now. This is my 1 pound baby, you guys. Joy Linda.
Thank you, Jolinda. Thank you. And we can move to the next speaker who would like to share their story. If anybody is ready, get ourselves together. But I guess we don't have to apologize. I saw that in the chat, and we do have space to show emotion and tell these stories. So thank you. Brittany or Kina or Nicole.
I
Go ahead.
So I have 3 children. My oldest is 13. She was born 2 weeks early, fairly easy birth for her. I got pregnant again when she was almost 2, or gave birth again when she was almost 2 to my first son. And while pregnant, we decided to move cross country, had to move in with my family. It was just a very stressful time. He came 5 weeks early. I was in labor for 3 days. I requested to have the epidural removed, but for 24 hours, I had an epidural in my spine. So much so when they actually removed it, I could not walk for 2 days. I still have back problems, and if you see me shifting, it's because my back is actually killing me right now. But I still, to this day, 11 years later, have severe back issues. I'm 35 with arthritis in my lower back, just in the area where the epidural was. There's just so much, and I became a doula because of that. Because of that instance, and because when my son was about 2, he started having stomach problems. And I took him to doctor after doctor after doctor, and no one believed me when I said my kid is sick. It turns out my son has cyclical vomiting syndrome, and like clockwork, he would every 4 weeks go through bouts where he could not keep down water, he could not keep down food, and it was 3 or 4 days of nonstop vomiting. We were in the ER every month, and that starts to raise flags when you start taking your kid to the hospital so much. And then when you start going from doctor to doctor, they start looking at you like, are you doctor shopping? Like, well, are you making your kid sick? And I finally found a physician that listened to me, because when I tell you, I am that weird mom who keeps a calendar of every time my kid got sick, everything he ate. I had notebooks just full of stuff because I didn't know what was wrong with my kid. And as a mom, you know what your kid's normal is, and you know when something is truly wrong. And for these doctors and nurses to tell me there's nothing wrong with your kid, I'm like, yes, something is truly wrong with my child. And it was supposed to be, they said if he doesn't grow out of it by the time he's 5, it's going to be a lifelong struggle for him. He's 11 and still struggles, but there's no way that I could have gotten a diagnosis without really fighting for my child, because I knew in my gut something was wrong. And I told the doctor, I think this is what he has. And whatever you have to do to figure out if this is it, please do it. And that started me on my path of advocacy, because I just felt like I was treated so unfairly. I was a young Black mom who came in with notes and knew more than what some of the nurses and doctors knew, because I did my homework and I did my research, and they didn't like that I didn't need them to tell me. I was telling them what I needed from them. And that got me put down on the list. I was not a priority. My son was not a priority. And that just turned me into the biggest fighter for my babies, and for everyone's babies, really, because I was so hurt by that, because my child was sick. And if we didn't do something, my baby could have died, or they would have taken my children, because I was in the hospital so much. It was the worst time ever. And I'm so grateful that that lit a fire within me to start my journey to becoming a doula. I'm a new doula. I've only been a doula for about a year, but I have worked very closely with the NICU organization, Mighty Little Giants. I see Jessica on there, and I was just inspired by the fight that she had for her son when he was born 12 weeks prematurely. He spent over 100 days, 143 days in the NICU. And I know these numbers because that's my godson, and he is just a miracle to all of us. He is such a blessing, the original Mighty Little Giant. And I was just very inspired by her and just everything that she has done for her son and for other families and babies that she just selflessly gives herself to. And I said, I do that for my own children, and it brings me so much joy to be able to help and be a support and let everyone else know that it's okay to be a little ugly with these people. Sometimes you have to be in order to get things done. And, fighting for yourself, there's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes you have to do it. And I'm so grateful to be able to be a doula and help people really advocate for themselves and let them know that, it's all right. And something that someone told me the other day is, we don't know what we don't know. So being able to be there for people who may not know the questions to ask, or may not know that, you don't have to do what the hospital is recommending that you do. You can try other methods. You can ask for another doctor. There are options out there for you. So hi, my Jess. Yes, ma'am. There are ways to get what you need, and there are ways to get things done, and you don't have to do it anybody's way but your own. And that is my story of being a doula and just loving the space that I have been blessed to be in.
Thank you for sharing. Kina, did you want to speak on your experience?
Yes. So, as I said earlier, I was really blessed to have a Black OB and midwife and doula for my first child, my son. And we had a really beautiful experience. We did a natural birth for him. And the thing that I found most important is that my husband and I were so in tune that we really just had, I felt like he was my sounding board and my advocate in the hospital, so that I could focus on just this process. And for our first child, he was due on the 6th, but he wasn't ready on the 6th. And because I was, because, anything over 35, they consider geriatric. So they kind of wanted me to have the baby on that day. But a friend of mine told me before, she was like, always just say a prayer before you make any decisions. Don't allow the doctors or the hospitals to make decisions for you. Go within. And so I just felt like he wasn't ready. And so as much as they wanted to put me on the Pitocin and get it, I was like, he's healthy, I'm healthy, I'd rather just wait. And so he came 4 days later, and and he came on his own naturally, but there were different things that were, when people were trying to say like, oh, maybe we should do this, I felt very much supported by my husband, who would always ask me what I wanted. We would always pray before, and then he would say, this is what we're not doing, or this is what we are going to do. And so we had a great natural experience in that aspect. For my second baby, we had the same OB, different midwife and doula, still a Black doula, but not a Black midwife. And because it was the pandemic, I found that because I wasn't able to do prenatal yoga and do all the outlets that I had to kind of keep my body prepared and my mind ready, I found that I was like, I'm not ready to do this naturally. Like, my mindset just isn't there. I didn't feel like I was in the same exact shape I was in with the first baby. And so kind of a similar thing happened where she was due on April 1st. I went to the hospital, and this time I felt, I felt again, like not listening to your intuition. I was like, okay, yeah, I guess you guys can do it. So they put me on the Pitocin, and this girl was like, I'm not ready to come. You guys can put me on that all day, but I'm not coming. And so the next day, after I'd been there overnight and she still hadn't come, I was very fortunate to have a nurse who came in and said, let me take you off this Pitocin. Let's get you some food, get up, let's do some yoga stretches. Like, let's just release that, what they're telling you needs to happen, and let's just see what's going on. And as soon as she took me off the Pitocin, she was like, that baby is not ready. And they suggested that I stay at the hospital again because of my age, being over 35. But again, I talked to my husband, and we just decided, we know my body. When she's ready to come, she will come. And so I left, and she came, I don't know why I keep saying she came 3 days later, and I pulled up to the hospital, and I just looked at my husband and I said, I can't do this naturally. My mindset isn't prepared for that. And he said, you don't have anything to prove. Get an epidural then. And so with my second one, I got the epidural, which ended up being, I'm so glad I listened to myself, because when they turned me on my right side, they were like, oh, she doesn't like that very much. And so when they turned me back over and they were like, do you feel like you want to push? And I was like, no. And they were like, okay, you're completely dilated, but you don't feel like you want to push. She's not coming down. And it's the moment where they they put a catheter to me to see if that would work. I was like, I could not have done that with, all these things without being on an epidural. Then they had to they did a couple of other things to see if they could get her to come, and she wasn't. And so he was like, your heart rate's really fast. I mean, he was saying her heart's going up and down because she's ready to come, but you're not ready to push. And that, again, I had to go inside, and I stayed very calm. And my husband just looked and said, we're not doing a C-section. We need to figure this out, but we've got this. And so the doctor came to me and he said, I'm going to have you push. He looked at me, and it only makes me emotional because I was so thankful to have God, ancestor, spirit, husband, everyone working for me. But he just looked at me and he said, I know you don't feel like you want to push. I'm going to ask you to push. And he was like, I need you to push. His exact words were like, you got to push like the devil. You understand me? I was like, okay. And so again, I'm nervous because I don't know what this means, but they counted to 3 and I pushed, and that girl came right out so fast. And so her head crowned, and he jumped. He was like, whoa, okay, stop pushing. He was like, you just got to grunt, girl, just grunt. And I grunted, and she came right out. And I was grateful to my doctor for listening. I was grateful to my husband for being in tune to relaying what I was feeling, and grateful for listening to my body, that I needed to have that epidural for all the different things that they had to try to see about getting her, because otherwise that would have been very painful for me. And so I just was very grateful. So I guess for me, the biggest lesson is best for you, and listen to yourself, and whoever your partner or team is, make sure you guys are in sync, because that is the only thing that really helps it to be such a beautiful experience for both.
Thank you, Brittany.
Yes. So with my experience, I moved here again from Texas in 2018. So I didn't have a community. I found out I was pregnant right before moving from Texas. And I just kind of picked somebody, you know what I mean? Picked an OBGYN, picked an office, which in this group, they had several OBGYNs and medical providers that you would see. So by the time I was delivered, I didn't know who was going to deliver my baby because I might have never met them during a visit, during my prenatal visits. So with my first, who is currently, she's 3 years old now, but that was my first pregnancy, and my water broke at 39 and I think 5 days, and I was admitted into the hospital. I was adamant about a natural birth. My husband is my doula. He's a health care provider as well, and so he's familiar with everything. So he's like my doula, my support system, and yeah, dad doula. So he was my ears, he was my eyes, especially with me going through the pain and everything. He was the one who spoke up for me because he knew we talked about this is how I wanted it to be. And just consulting with him or him consulting with me, like regarding like, hey, do you want to do this, you want to get on the ball, do you want to, like, he was very supportive and like with positioning while I was in labor. So since my water broke, they always pushed the fact that hey, you need to get Pitocin, you need to, because you're at risk for infection after 24 hours of no progress. You need Pitocin. So I just remember going through contractions and things like that, them coming in the room and checking you every so often, different things I just didn't like, because I'm going through these contractions, trying to have a moment with my family. You just bothering me at this point. You're coming in and you're messing up my mental. I'm trying to focus and go through my waves or contractions. The nurse kept knocking on the door and asking, "Oh, you want Pitocin now?" And I'm just like, "No, I'm okay." Another hour went by. "Are you sure you don't want Pitocin?" No, I'm good. I got this. Another 2 hours went by. You really need to get Pitocin. And I'm just like, "No, I'll wait." My husband kind of talked to me. He was like, "Hey, I think I was like 20 hours in, not much progress, but still progressing." And he was just like, I think you should, and I'm listening to my husband because again, he's health professional as well. And he was like, I think you should just get it. You should get it, but we're still going to have a natural birth. And it's just like, after you get the Pitocin, then they're like, "Oh, well, you want an epidural?" As if I couldn't handle the pain. I can handle it. Thank you. Thank you, nurse, for, suggesting the epidural. But I got it. I got it. Because that was my goal. For my first pregnancy, I wanted a natural birth. I wanted to experience all the pain, whatever. I'm thankful to not have any issues with the baby. Everything was fine. So that was my first birth. My second birth, again, I chose to go with a hospital because when we moved here, I didn't have much time, I guess, to kind of look for a midwife or doula, things like that, because we were making a lot of changes in our life as far as like businesses and working, going back to school, things like that. So I wind up going with another OBGYN. Same pretty much experience of them pressuring me to get something. Like this time with my son, the second one, the water didn't break. So that, hey, do you want me to, start it for you? No, and so I just got tired of them pressuring me to do things. And so with this pregnancy that I'm currently in, 38 and 5, I decided to go with a midwife. I want to do things naturally and my way and being empowered through my delivery and not having to have someone pressure me or convince me that this is what I needed. I just wanted my body to work naturally and do what it needs to do. So, and then this time being able to have someone who is African American who be able to understand my reasoning for this is what I want and this is how I want it to go, unless this happens, but this is how, just understanding and respecting my process and what I would want for my birth plan. So I'm very blessed to be able to have a midwife and be able to this time have it at home and do things more in a natural way. And again, have my husband there as my doula. So I'm very excited about that. And then the community. I think the difference between the pregnancies that I had with my first one, who was not in the pandemic, to my second one is, having the prenatal things, different things change during your prenatal visits, the delivery changing, not having to have the full support in the room. Like with my daughter, I was able to have my mother and my husband and my dad in the room, or things like that. With the second one during the pandemic, I was only allowed to have my husband, but then my husband couldn't leave and come back. He had to stay in the room. So the different, regulations that they had in the hospital, I just was done with it. And I knew with this one that that I'm currently having, that I didn't want to have to deal with any of that. No rules or regulations or laws or whatever they had, and just be in my own space.
Thank you all for sharing your stories. This is very powerful to hear each one of you speak and uplift each other in this space. In the comment, Audra says is very much in line with what the theme is for this Black Maternal Health Week. So thank you all. It's crazy how much time flies when we are in this space and sharing our stories. So we will only ask one more question to wrap this up so we can view the motherhood video and progress with our program. But our last question is, what is your favorite aspect of being a mother? What is the most rewarding thing of raising children? Just so we can share some positivity and share what we love about you guys being a mother. Anyone can go first.
I'll go. For me, oh, Jalinda, were you okay? For me, one of the most important aspects is, of course, the joy, but it's the way that I get to see the world again through them, and the way in which I am taught so many things. That for me is, you think you know something, or you think you've seen something, or I've been down this street 50 times, and then your son points out something and you're like, that is pretty. I didn't notice that because I'm moving fast in my adult world. Or even the lessons for me, I always kind of write down these lessons I learn from my kids that they teach me, whether that's about patience or persistence, or like definitely staying focused on something and not giving up, or finding different ways to which to ask to get what you want, because my toddler will do that. And so those are the things that I love. And I love that, honestly, I love that I can look at them and know that, like, me and the person that I love, my husband and I, made these beings, and that we get the opportunity to make them contributors of this world. And that is, it just brings me such joy.
Jalinda, are you ready?
Yes. I just wanted to say, and also add, that just every day, waking up, being here, seeing their lives, seeing their growth, seeing their struggles, everything that they're going through, talking to them, sharing a meal, them loving on me loving on them. That's all very inspiring to me. And just the love that I get from others. This is something that I'm very grateful and thankful to have every day with my children. That's all.
Thank you. Next.
I think for me, it's being able to provide them with the love and the things that you may not have received growing up, knowing the things that you were missing out on that you can provide now that you have your kids. I think it's amazing. And again, just seeing them grow and build these personalities, and just being there in those moments. yeah, it's motherhood is amazing. It's exhausting, but it's an amazing experience just to see him grow, to grow and learn new things every day.
Joy. Next.
For me, particularly because I have two boys right now, two Black boys, you know, beautiful brown bodies in this world that sees them as something else, especially, you know, 3 years from now when my son is going to be 6 years old. I know how the world will see him. But for me, it is seeing him feeling empowered and affirmed in his Black boyhood and having a sense of identity and knowing who he is without the world telling him who he is, and him having that absolute knowing. That for me is everything, because when I'm not here, I want him to still stand up and say, I am Pierce Wilson. I am a child of God. I am a beautiful Black boy. You know, I am all of these things. So for me, it's seeing him stand in his autonomy and his knowingness of who he is.
Thank you. I think we have a couple more of you who can give your final words of the joys of motherhood. And you reminded me, Michelle, of a Black-owned puzzle company. So I'm dropping that in the chat. They have a puzzle called Black Boy Joy. It's so cute.
Yes, it is. It's really cute. Yes.
It was so hard to put together, but you know, great family time. Yeah, thing to do. So Nicole, do you have any final words for us?
Forgive me, I'm doing double duty today. I'm still working. So um just I'm just loving, you know, where my children and I are in this moment. I have a teenager, so every day is not roses. Um, but I'm just grateful for the relationship that I've been able to build, especially during the pandemic. Everybody's just been on edge. It's just been so hard, especially for these babies, not being able to socialize and just really understanding what's going on. So I'm just grateful that in this rough time that I've been able to really build an amazing relationship with especially my teenager. Man, these teenagers. Build a relationship with my daughter and my boys as well, but especially my daughter, because being 13 is rough, middle school is rough, and then having to figure out this pivotal time in your life in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of, you know, just changes within our family. It's just, it's not easy. So I'm loving where we are. I'm loving the journey of it, just figuring out what normal looks like for everyone in this new world. And I'm going to say it's new. It ain't new, but what normal is going to look like for us going forward with, you know, do we mask? Do we do this? And just taking the time to just explain everything and still find ways to make everything fun and just be educational. And I'm just, I don't even have words for it. The word I used earlier is joyful, because I am really finding the happy moments in everything, because this journey is still every day something new. You learn something every single day from your kids. As a mom, I'm not perfect. I mess up daily, parenting, but the next day I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to fuss about this, you know, tomorrow. Today I might have slipped up, but tomorrow I'm not. And I'm sorry, guys. Mommy is still human, and we're gonna work through it together. So I'm grateful to be here and be able to sit and chat with everybody and hear everybody's story today. This morning has just been absolutely amazing. And I'm just I'm just happy for everyone's journey, and I'm just joyful. I have no other words. You guys don't even understand. I'm just very joyful and happy.
And also, that's a great way to end this segment. We do have a video coming up exploring all of the joys of motherhood and looking at some mommies who gave us permission to show all the cuties. So do get ready to share your information in the chat. So after the video, people will know how to get in contact with you and all the amazing work that you are doing. I did want to say again, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. It's very important. I am older and I don't have children. I've been a teacher, so I definitely know the joys of children and what they can bring. And so it's nice to hear the stories. And I learned a lot today. And so Chanel, thank you for helping at your First Sisters at 8 with us. You did a wonderful job. We are not finished yet though. Alexis, are we ready for the video montage?
Yes.
Excellent. Let's share screen.
Celebrating the beauty of Black motherhood. To describe my mother would be to invite a hurricane in its perfect power, or the climbing, falling colors of a rainbow. Maya Angelou. We never understand life until it's growing inside of you. Sharon Kane Cox. There are some universal elements when it comes to motherhood, especially for Black moms. Black women are selfless. Many women think of their children before they think about Mamas, you are always appreciated. Thank you all for the submissions of your photos.
Yes, thank you. All of you who submitted photos to Black Women for Wellness. We appreciate it. And I don't know about you, I saw you, Ajoy, put the emoji in the chat with the face and the eyes. It's like you're watching that and you just what makes us grasp our hands and just melt when you see all those wonderful pictures of the little ones. We had our dear, some of our Black Women for Wellness staff and other beautiful Black women and babies from all around who did share their photos with us. So we appreciate it. So now is the time to get some of that information on how we can get in contact with you all. If you're able to put it in the chat, you can do so, or you can come on camera and tell us all about it. So I know we have a few different organizations that I mentioned in the bios that we have represented today. Nicole, I know you're busy, because you do it, there it is, right in the chat. So Nicole Houston, Nicole is NICOLE at doula4u, the letter U.org. And that's the website, I think, or the email. And you can also email info@doula4u.org. And the number is 951-240-2539. Thank you for throwing that in the chat. Did you want to mention your organization again? Oh, and please do put Kara for Moms, I think that's what it's called, the organization for Kara in the chat if any of you have it. Kina, Michelle, Brittany, did you have any contact information you wanted to share with our guests who are on today? We have everyone else joining in. Thank you for joining us today, Lachey. You weren't a speaker, but we do have a pace early head start. Thank you, Lachey. Kina's information is in the chat and how to get in touch with her on Instagram at Kina Star, all one word. And Nichelle Wilson is coming to us from Palm Baby Doula. So that's www.palmbabydoula.com. And she's also on Instagram. Brittany is Queen Bee _natural on Instagram. All right, and we've got more people sharing all the wonderful things that are happening in the community. And yes, thank you, Nichelle, for dropping in for Kira for Moms. I had an opportunity to hear the father speak. I happen to be located in Montgomery, Alabama, and am working with the great Michelle Browder, who has erected statues who are representing the mothers of gynecology who have paved the road to where we are now and giving acknowledgement to everyone involved here. So let's move on our program and get ready to tell you about more of the events that are happening in for Black Maternal Health Week. Chanel?
Yes, I will share my screen. So earlier I did talk about what BWW will be doing for Black Maternal Health Week, but we also want to show what is occurring county-wide. And so everyone can see my screen. We have a lot of events that will be occurring for Black Maternal Health Week. I will also put the link in the description so everyone will have that. Events starting from Sunday and going all the way on to next Saturday. Wanted to highlight there will be a community baby shower and resource fair at Curtis Tucker Center for Community Wellness next Saturday. There'll be a lot of events, so please join and participate in Black Maternal Health Week.
Thank you. Wanted to check in and see if Felicia ever joined. She is our poet laureate for Black Women for Wellness and had some words for us, but maybe had some issues being able to log on, so I don't see her still. So we will keep going, and I will now share some of the other events. Oh, Michelle, you can share the flyer if you would like, and then I will share screen also to tell people about some of our other Black Women for Wellness events. Oh, you have another poem for us. Well, we have time. We'd love to hear you again. So I can spotlight you for a final poem.
Thank you, Keisha. This one is called Wildling Rising, my second birthday, in honor of my second son. Do I unmuted? Okay. They say the second ones come faster. My body, this vessel, remembered it was a home once before. My body, this vessel, remembered holding something sacred deep within and giving it away to a world of another kind of light. With urgency, she, my body, gave to me night pains, rocking and rolling me to her song. She then says to me, here, look, see, a seal wrapped with red ribbon. This day is a gift. Picking up the tempo, the depth of the bass radiates to my backside like a summer heat wave, skin squeezing sweat and pushing up vowels through my teeth, popping my jaw open. This day, together, we made God laugh and I cried. I wanted the ocean for you. I wanted the hum of Touré's ruby. I wanted yellow light. God indeed did laugh. She, my body, this vessel, said time was something unhuman but holy. Rising from my womb, opening passages for you, guiding you by only her air. She sharply bends ahs into something unfamiliar, something bush wild, something equally natural yet frightening, some kind of gorgeous power plucked from the dirt. You crowned and I said, I can't. Washing over me like how a mother draws warm bath water, a doula's voice whispers, you can. I stood there. I can. Looking over my shoulder to all the women, releasing all their energy to me, holding me in that way. Push, mama, we can. I squat and I stand and I stand and I squat, opening before God, asking for mercy, but expecting grace. We, my body and I and you, sang this new song, tearing it up to the second degree of time. And there you are, honey baby child, my boy. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Michelle. I appreciated that. That was great. And thank you for stepping up in the absence of our poet laureate and being ready. Thank you, Adwa, for dropping in the chat more information about SLASB MCAT and what all of those acronyms stand for. Those of you who may be tuning in live on Facebook and aren't privy to our chat here on Zoom, I'm about to share with you the Black Women for Wellness website. And if you get an opportunity, you can go to the website and be part of all of our events page and register on Zoom for our upcoming events. So this is our website and the events page. You are now tuned in for celebrating the beauty of Black motherhood. And if you had clicked on this right here, you would be Zooming with us. So we hope that you join us for some of our other events like Wellness Wednesday coming up April 13th. This is again part of the Black Infant Maternal Health Week. We have our food distribution that we've been doing, podcasts We at Black Women for Wellness like to give information, and we have been doing so with podcasts. It is Earth Month, so we have a variety of different Earth Week activities, including hikes in the park. A couple of our different programs are doing that. One of our other organizations is talking about Black Women for Wellness and Johnson & Johnson's. It says advocacy, but we're talking about the health and racial justice violations and the fight against these crimes. And so we will be having another Sisters at 8. I can share the flyer for that. That is coming up as part of Earth Month, Earth Week, Earth Month. I'm pull that up here. Can I just show you all of this one? It is so beautiful. The save the date for Black Maternal Health Week was just gorgeous. Why does that one keep coming up? My apologies. It is here. Look at that. That was your prelude to Black Maternal Health Week. I love it. So some of our other ones, this is our Earth Week Nature Walk on April 24th. And I thought I saved our other little flyer here, but I will go back to our website just so that you can make sure you tune in for more of our events. As you see, we have lots of things going on, and this is just the events part. All the work that's being done is phenomenal. So if you would like to participate and donate, we have a donate button. If you don't like doing it online, you can mail it. You can come by our office. We are taking donations to support the work that we are doing. And we also invite people to be members of Black Women for Wellness. You get a special package when you get your membership, and you are privy to events before the main group. So do consider being a member with Black Women for Wellness for only $65 for a year. And then, yes, we do have opportunities to volunteer and so forth. So we are so glad that all of you came today to participate in this much needed, very important information. Yes, Ajoy, you get all of that for just $65. And it supports the work that we are doing. And that is very important. So I did all of my spiel. We got 4 minutes. So any final words from anyone else? Yes, thank yous to all the people who helped come to the program today and to make this program possible. So Miss Antoinette Drone and Alexis, thank you very much for leading up Sisters at 8. We appreciate all the work you did putting together the videos and calling out for everything and making sure we posted it all on Facebook and Instagram and some of our other Black Women for Wellness social media sites. And so with that, I think we can go ahead and play a little bit of music and show our flyer and end out of this fine morning, Friday morning, and tune in for more. Thank you. Be well.